I need you to stay completely still for this one, because what I am about to tell you happened in the dark, in my own bedroom, in the house I had lived in for 11 years, while my husband stood 6 feet away from me, believing completely that I was asleep. I was not asleep. My name is Claire, and on a Wednesday night in November, I heard my husband say something on a phone call that ended our marriage. Not because of what he said to the person on the other end, but because of the way he said it, the ease of it, the comfort, the particular tone of someone who is completely at home in a conversation they have had many times before. Let me take you back to that night. I had gone to bed early, a headache, the kind that sits behind your eyes and makes light unbearable. I had taken something for it, turned off my lamp, and was lying in the particular half-sleep that comes when your body is exhausted. But your mind hasn't fully let go yet. I heard the bedroom door open quietly, the careful quietness of someone trying not to wake you. I kept my eyes closed, my breathing slow and even. The way you breathe when you are deeply asleep. I didn't do it deliberately. It was just where I was, in that half space between waking and sleeping. I heard him cross the room, heard the soft sound of him settling into the chair by the window, the one we had bought together at a market 4 years ago, the one he always sat in when he needed to think. And then I heard him dial, 1 ring, 2, and then a voice answered, and my husband's entire body changed. I couldn't see him. My eyes were still closed, but I could hear it, the shift in his breathing, the particular exhale of someone who has been holding something in all day and has finally been given permission to put it down. "Hey," he said, in a voice I had never heard him use with me, soft, open, unguarded in a way that our 11 years had never quite produced. "I've been waiting to call you all day. If your heart just stopped, stay with me. Subscribe to this channel right now, because what I heard in the next 14 minutes changed everything, and I need you to hear how it ends." I lay completely still, eyes closed, breathing slow, and I listened to every word. The call lasted 14 minutes and 22 seconds. I know because I looked at his phone the next morning, carefully, while he was in the shower, and saw the duration of the outgoing. Call at 11:47 p.m., 14 minutes and 22 seconds. In that time I learned the following things. Her name was not mentioned. He called her nothing, which I realized later is its own kind of answer. You don't use someone's name. When you have said it so many times, it has become something private, something worn smooth by repetition. They had been talking for 8 months. I know this because he said, in that soft, unguarded voice, 8 months. I can't believe it's been 8 months. With the particular wonder of someone marking time spent on something precious. 8 months. While I had been beside him every morning, while we had eaten dinners together and watched television and had the ordinary conversations of two people sharing a life, while I had been completely, totally, embarrassingly, unaware. He told her he was unhappy. Not in a dramatic way. Not with accusations or grievances or the kind of unhappiness that announces itself. In a quieter way, the way someone describes a low-grade ache they have learned to live with. "I don't know how to explain it," he said. "I just feel like I've been somewhere else for a long time. Like I'm going through the motions." She said something. I couldn't hear clearly, and her voice, a murmur through the phone. He laughed, softly, the laugh of someone being seen. "Yeah," he said. "With you it feels different. Like I can actually breathe." I lay in that bed and felt something happen inside me that I can only describe as a very large, very quiet door closing. Not slamming, not breaking, just closing, with a soft final click. The call ended. I heard him sit in silence for a few minutes. Then I heard him stand, cross the room, slide carefully back into bed beside me. He was asleep within minutes. I lay beside him until 4 a.m., then I got up, made coffee, and sat at the kitchen table until the sun came up. And I made a plan, not out of rage, not out of grief, not yet, out of the particular clarity that comes when something you have been not quite seeing is suddenly, completely visible. I gave myself 2 weeks. 2 weeks to gather what I needed, financially, legally, practically. I spoke to no one. I changed nothing on the surface. I made his coffee in the morning and asked about his day in the evening, and moved through our shared life with a steadiness that cost me more than I can adequately describe. And then, on a Sunday morning, 2 weeks after that Wednesday night, I sat across from him at the breakfast table and placed my phone between us. On the screen was a note I had written, not long, 8 sentences, I was awake on Wednesday night. I heard the call. All 14 minutes. I have spent 2 weeks making sure I am ready for what comes next. I am ready now. I would like you to read this, and then I would like us to have the most honest conversation we have ever had. He read it and looked up at me with eyes that had gone completely white. What followed was the most honest conversation of our marriage, which is perhaps the saddest thing I will say today, that it took this, a Wednesday night and a 14-minute phone call and 2 weeks of quiet preparation to produce the kind of honesty that should have existed from the beginning. He confirmed everything. He did not attempt to minimize or redirect or perform innocence he didn't have. I think when someone has been carrying something in the dark for 8 months and the lights are suddenly on, there is a particular relief in finally putting it down, even when the putting down is devastating. He said he was sorry, many times, in many different ways. I listened to all of it. Then I said, I believe you, and I need you to understand something. I am not angry. I'm not going to perform anger for you or for anyone else. What I am is done, and I need you to understand the difference. He asked if there was anything that could change my mind. I thought about it seriously, for a long moment. No, I said. Because what I heard on Wednesday night wasn't just the call. It was the voice, the way you sounded with her, and I realized, you have never sounded that way with me. Not once in 11 years, and I deserve someone who sounds that way when they finally get to talk to me. He had no answer for that. The divorce was filed the following month. It was painful, and of course it was painful. 11 years does not untangle easily or without cost. There were hard days and harder nights and a grief that was real and complicated, and entirely mine to move through. But there was also, underneath everything, something I had not expected. Relief. The particular relief of someone who has been carrying a half-truth for a long time, and has finally been given the complete picture. The marriage I had thought I was in had not been the marriage I was actually in. And knowing the truth, even a truth that hurt, was better than the comfortable, careful fiction that had been running quietly alongside our real life for 8 months. I am on my own now, in a life that is smaller in some ways and larger in others. I have friends I see without accounting for my time. I have mornings that belong entirely to me. I have, slowly, carefully, with appropriate caution, begun to trust again. Not him. Myself. The part of me that heard something in the dark and knew, before a single word was spoken, that something was wrong. Trust that voice. Whatever yours sounds like. Here is what a Wednesday night and 14 minutes taught me. The truth does not always arrive when you are ready for it. Sometimes it arrives at 11:47 p.m., while you are lying in the dark with your eyes closed. And what you do with it, how carefully, how deliberately, how completely, is entirely up to you. My husband thought I was asleep. He was wrong. And the version of me that lay there, with her eyes closed and her breathing, slow and her mind completely awake, was the strongest I have ever been. If this story reached you, if it opened something you needed to look at, please share it right now and subscribe to this channel. Every week I bring you stories like this one. Stories about the things we hear in the dark and what we do when the lights finally come on. I am always listening.